The next stop on our show this week is at Oltman Middle School, another one of our schools that we refer to as T3 schools. All of our schools are trying to transform thinking through technology, but Oltman is one of the schools that does have iPads for each one of their students. So today we're going to visit with a history class, and we're going to visit with Ms. Andrea Kleoppel. We're in 7th grade American history today with one of the students. Can you share your name and what school we're at?
My name's Andrea Kleoppel, and I go to Oltman Middle School. I'm in 7th grade.
And what are you doing today in American history? It looks like you're doing something with your iPads.
We are learning about why the immigration increased.
So how are you using your iPad to do that today?
We're going on an interactive tour of Ellis Island.
And so on that tour, what are some of the things you're seeing or learning about?
There's this small text that we read. There's some photos that we can see, actual photos, and sometimes there's audio of people and video of them getting off the steamboat and going into the building.
And do you get to use your iPad in any of your other classes?
Yeah, like almost all of my other classes, except for maybe physical ed or, gym.
And how are you using it in some of those other classes? What are some other examples?
Like note-taking and quizzes and tests.
Okay. What are your thoughts about being able to use iPads in your school this year?
Well, I kind of miss paper, but the other stuff, like, music and games and interactive stuff is cool.
Okay. Are there any suggestions you'd have for people on how they could make the program better?
Not really, I guess. There are some glitches or bugs. But
all right, well, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Well, we're with another student here at Oltman Middle School. Can you tell us your name and what class we're in?
I'm Ben Gutzman, and I'm in American history.
And it looks like you guys are using your iPads today in American history. Can you tell us a little bit about what you and your classmates are doing?
We're doing an interactive tour through Ellis Island on our iPads.
So when you say you're doing an interactive tour, what are some of the things that you're able to do?
We can watch videos, listen to audio clips, and read articles.
And when you do those things, how do you think that helps with your learning of immigration?
It shows us that there were a lot of different things going on and many other processes than just going on a boat and coming to America.
And how do you think as a student, how does this compare to just reading about it in your book?
This is more interactive, and it helps us to understand it a little better.
Okay, and do you make much use of your iPad in other classes?
Yeah. We make flashcards and stuff. So.
Okay, so you do some other uses then. Do you use it at home for homework at all?
Yeah, for calculators and to look at my notes.
Any suggestions for people on how they could improve the program?
No, not really.
All right. Well, thanks for spending the time with us.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're back with the teacher of those fine students. Can you let our audience know who you are and where you're teaching and your subjects?
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Kleoppel, and I teach 7th grade social studies at Oltman.
And we noticed today that students were using iPads, and it looks like the topic's immigration. Maybe you can share a little bit with what they're doing.
Yeah, today they are taking an interactive tour on their iPads to learn about what it would be like to go through Ellis Island. And so they're actually going through that process of the 10 stations. And at each station, they're either watching a video or listening to audio clips or reading a short passage. And then they're answering a few questions about it. This would look different with a textbook. They would just be reading, taking notes. They wouldn't actually get to see any clips or see any artifacts from the time period.
So a little more personalization for them then.
Yeah, they are actually going at their individual pace. So some students will be on station 2, or some students are on station 10. Some of them may choose to research something that they find interesting on one of the stations, where other kids will just go straight through the process.
Well, and we're Almost near Thanksgiving time, so the students here have had these iPads since the start of the school year. I'm assuming that you've used it in other sessions besides immigration. What are some of the things that you're seeing as a teacher this year with these students having access to technology versus maybe students in previous years that did not?
Definitely student engagement. We have more students who are on task during each lesson. We have students who get to differentiate. If they're more interested in something, they can do it interest-based, or we can level different assignments. For example, we just did a project where some students chose to do a video or a movie, and some students chose to do a comic strip. And so it's really easy for teachers to mix that up for them and keep them interested in what we're studying for that unit.
And so as a teacher, how do you have to prepare differently maybe than you would have in the past?
That's a good question. Definitely have to work on being tech savvy or entering things onto a website, but that's our main point to start class each day. Is we start and we upload things to the website. It hasn't changed lesson planning. I still have to come up with an anticipatory set or something to start class and have different activities where they're still up and moving. They're not sitting and just using an iPad the entire time. I would say uploading assignments would be the biggest thing to a website and just keeping that consistent for them.
But in the end of the day, it sounds like good teaching and learning is still what it's all about.
Definitely best practice still, I would go with.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you allowing us into your room today and visiting with us, and thanks for giving the students the option to do some of the things that you shared, because it's one thing to give the technology, but you've opened up the world for them to share how they're learning. I think that's really been important, and a credit to you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your opportunity to visit with us and see a little bit about how technology is being used in just a few of our classrooms across the district. Throughout the rest of the year, we hope to continue to bring you examples of how our students, our staff, are really transforming their thinking through this use of technology. We'll have many additional stops along the way, and we hope that you'll share in this journey with us. Thanks, and have a great day.